multiplication and division of integers. That is our video lesson for this day. Objectives: to explain and apply the rules for multiplying positive and negative integers. To explain and apply the rules for dividing positive and negative integers. To apply multiplication and division of integers to real life or real world scenarios. Let us begin. Multiplying positive and negative integers. The rules. So, whenever we're multiplying integers, the sign of the product, the result, depends on the signs of the numbers being multiplied. Let's begin with the first one. So, positive times positive equals positive. Let us have an example. So we have, for example, 2 times 5, both of them are positive. So positive 2 and positive 5. So 2 times 5 will give us 10. So positive, remember the rule, positive times positive equals positive. So remember, positive times positive equals positive. Since 2 and 5 are both positive and we multiply them to each other, we will also have a result of a positive, which is 10. Next, positive times negative equals negative. Let us have an example. So 3 times negative 11 will give us negative 33. Why? Because following the rules, positive, 3 is positive, negative 11 is negative 11. So we will have an answer of negative 33. Okay? So 3 times negative 11 will give us an answer of negative 33. Next, how about negative times positive equals negative? Okay, so let's have an example. Negative 4 times 8 will give us an answer of negative 32. Okay, so because negative times positive, we can see here that the negative is negative 4 times 8, which is positive, will give us a negative answer, which is negative 32. How about negative times negative equals positive? So example would be negative 7 times negative 9. So negative 7 times negative 9 will give us 63. Why? Because negative times negative equals positive. Okay, if you noticed, we have this picture here, and I do believe you're curious, who's this guy? So it's called as the Dorito Man. Of course, that image, we were so lucky because we were given the permission by my co-teacher, Mrs. Alexander. She gave us the permission to use it in our video lesson. So the Dorito Man can actually help us understand better whenever we're multiplying or dividing positive and negative integers. Okay, so if you don't have this toy, you can actually draw it. Okay, it's like very similar to the size of your Doritos. Yeah, the Dorito chip is so delicious. So you can draw a Dorito man. His two eyes, okay, are the negatives or the negative signs at the top, of course. His mouth, there is his mouth. His mouth is actually your positive sign, and it's actually at the bottom. So you may use your two fingers Okay, using your two fingers, cover up the signs of the integers in the problem. The sign left uncovered is the answers answer sign. Okay, so for example, for the first one, we have a positive positive. Okay, okay, so that's already understood. So we can only use this, for example, if we have, let's say, positive times negative. Yes, okay. So let's have positive times negative. Okay, so we have one positive. Okay, suppose the circle is our finger, and times negative. Okay, so we cover that with our two fingers, and whatever is the remaining sign is our answer. So it's actually negative. That's why we have 3 times negative 11 would give us an answer of negative 33. So that is Mr. Dorito Man. I hope it helps. Okay, let's go to the next one. All right, let us have some practice problems. We can actually use Mr. Dorito Man to help us practice all these problems involving multiplying integers. Okay, so we have here 6 times negative 3. So we have a positive, okay, positive 6 times negative 3. So the sign that is left is negative. So our answer would be negative 18. There you go. Thank you, Mr. Dorito Man. Okay, next. How about negative 4 times 5? Okay, what is negative 4 times 5? Negative times positive. Okay, so we have what is left to our Dorito Man. It's actually negative 20. Next, oh, how about this? Negative times negative. You can cover the two eyes, and what is left is the positive sign. So negative 7 times negative 2 will give us 14. Okay? Because what is left is the positive, the mouth of Mr. Dorito Man. Okay? So that's for negative times negative is positive. So negative 7 times negative 2 will give us 14. Next, how about 8 times negative 6? Okay, positive times negative will give us an answer of positive 8 times negative 6 will give us an answer of negative 48. Okay, next. So we have negative 9 times positive 3. So the answer will be negative 27. Okay, all right. It's easier because we have Mr. Dorito Man helping us. Okay, how about negative 5 times negative 4? Okay, so it will give us an answer of 20. All right, that's nice. Okay, next, how about 12 times negative 8? 12 is positive. Okay, multiplied to negative 8. Okay, what's left is negative. So this is actually negative 96. Okay, all right. So easy, right? And then, of course, negative 6 times negative 6. Negative times negative. The remaining is the mouth, which has the positive sign. So it's 36. 36, yes. And next one. So we have 15. That's positive 15 times negative 2 will give us negative 30. Okay, according to our Mr. Dorito Man. Next, We have negative, again, negative 3 times positive 9 will give us negative 27. Okay, so our answers is negative 18, negative 20, that's correct. 14, correct. Negative 48, that's correct. Negative 27, correct. 20, correct. Negative 96, that's correct. 36, correct. Negative 30, correct. And negative 27. It's easier because we have the help of Mr. Dorito Man. Okay, let's go to the next one. All right, how about when we are dividing positive and negative integers? Let us have the rule. When dividing positive and negative integers, the rule for determining the sign of the quotient is as follows. So, whenever we're dividing two positive integers, very much like multiplying, the result is positive. For example, 18 divided by 3 will give us 6. Because 18 is positive, 3 is positive, so 18 divided by 3 will give us also a positive result or a quotient of 6. Next, how about dividing two negative integers? So it says here the result is also positive. That is correct. Example, 12 divided by, oh, sorry, negative 12, I'm sorry. Okay, negative 12 divided by negative 4. I forgot the sign. It's good I remember. Okay, so negative 12 divided by negative 4 will give us a result of 3. Because the rule states that whenever you're dividing two negative integers, which is negative 12 and negative 4, the result is also positive, right? Which is positive 3. Okay, next one, dividing a positive integer by a negative integer. The result is negative. Okay, so let's have an example. 20 divided by negative 5. The answer would be negative 4. Going back to our rule, dividing a positive integer. The positive integer is 20. The negative integer is negative 5. So the answer would be negative 4. Okay? Next, how about dividing a negative integer by a positive integer? Okay, so let's have an example. Negative 72 divided by 9. So you can see here the negative integer is negative 72 and the positive integer is 9. So our result or our quotient will give us negative 8. Okay, you can also use Mr. Dorito Man to help you in, understanding your multiplication and division of integers because he will really help you. Of course, if it is already positive divided by a positive, that's easier for us to, for us to get the answer, for us to understand. So we can use this, for example, for number 2. So negative divided by negative will give us positive. Okay, that's it. All right, so Mr. Dorito Man is really helping us to understand better about multiplying and dividing positive and negative integers. All right, so for the summary rule in dividing positive and negative integers, always remember same signs like positive divided by positive or negative divided by negative will always give us a positive result. That is when you're dividing positive to positive or negative to negative, the answer is always a positive result. Next, if it is different signs, for example, positive divided by a negative or negative divided by a positive, the answer would always be negative result. So the magnitude of the quotient is calculated just like positive numbers by dividing the absolute values of the integers. Okay, let's have some practice problem. So, Mr. Dorito Man is always really there, to help us be able to get the correct answer. So, thank you, Mr. Dorito Man, right? So, yeah, again, I would like to take the opportunity to thank my co-teacher, Mrs. Alexander, for giving us the permission to use this toy, which was actually given to her by her student. Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Alexander, for allowing us to use it for educational purposes. Okay, let's have a practice problem about dividing positive and negative integers. So for the first one, that's easy. 12 divided by 3, that is 4. Okay, positive divided by positive is positive. 12 divided by 3 will give us 4. Next, how about negative 15 divided by 5? Negative 15 divided by 5. So we can use Mr. Dorito Man. Negative divided by a positive will give us a negative answer of negative 3. Okay? So negative 15 divided by 5 would give us negative 3. Next, how about 18 divided by negative 6? So we already know the answer, and the answer is negative 3. Okay? That's positive 18 divided by negative 6. Okay, positive divided by negative 6 will give us a negative answer, which is negative 3. Next, okay, how about this? Negative 28 divided by negative 7. Of course, the answer is 4. The answer is 4 because negative, remember, you can use Mr. Dorito Man's eyes, negative divided by negative will give us an answer of positive. So negative 28 divided by negative 7 will give us an answer of 4. Next, negative 42 divided by 14. Again, we know the answer very well. So the answer would be negative 3. Okay, negative 42 divided by 14 will give us an answer of negative 3. Next, 56 divided by negative 8 will give us an answer of negative 7. Okay, negative 36 divided by 9 will give us an answer of negative 4. And next will be 25 divided by negative 5 will give us an answer of negative 5. Okay, negative 5, that's negative 5. Okay, next, negative 81 divided by negative 9. Of course, the answer is 9. Okay, let's erase this one. Okay, all right. And of course, the last one, 64 divided by negative 8 will give us an answer of negative 8. So our answers are 4, negative 3, negative 3, 4, negative 3, negative 7, negative 4, negative 5, 9, and negative 8. Of course, if you're still having a hard time with this, always remember Mr. Dorito Man is always there to help us solve or multiply or divide positive and negative integers. Right? All right. Now, let us go to our real world scenario about multiplying and dividing positive and negative integers. Okay, let's begin with the scenario about multiplication of positive and negative integers. Okay, so we have here a scenario. It's about bank account balance. Mhm. So imagine you have a bank account, your account balance can go up. So when we say go up, that means a positive amount. Okay? All right. When you deposit money, okay, and when it can go down, that means it's a negative amount. Okay? Okay, that is when you withdraw money. So let's just remember that. Give emphasis to those words. So when you deposit, that means your balance can go up. That means it's a positive amount. And when you withdraw your money, that indicates it goes down and it means negative amount. Now, we have a situation. You have $500. Wow, that's pretty big, huh? In your bank account, which is a positive balance. Each month, you incur a monthly fee of negative $30. So that's a negative amount for maintaining your account. Now, the question is, how much money will you have in your account after 3 months of paying, your monthly fee? All right, let us solve this problem. This is easy. Okay, let us understand that this actually is an easy problem to understand. So, first is we must understand the problem. So, understand the problem. Okay? That is the first thing that we must do. Understand the problem. So, we know that your account balance is actually decreasing by um $30 every month. Okay? So it's actually decreasing. Okay? All right. So this means, what does it mean? It means that we need to multiply a negative number by a positive number. Okay. So we know, because according to that problem, we are actually losing $30 each month for 3 months. Okay. So this is actually a negative. So what we're going to do here is to multiply negative 30 times 3. Okay. Why 3? Because that's 3 months. That is according to our given problem. Okay, if I'm going to multiply this, it will give me an answer of negative 90. Okay? Okay, let us now interpret the result. So after 3 months, how much, okay, how much did we lose? Of course, we've lost a total of $90. Okay? We've lost a total of $90. So how much would be our remaining balance? So of course your money in the bank is 500, and we will now subtract your 90. Okay. So how much is 500 minus 90? Okay. Let's subtract. So that would be 0, and then we borrow 1. So that would be 1. Okay. All right. So after 3 months, okay, your bank account balance is now $410. Okay? Yes. Okay, because as I said, we multiply negative 30 by 3, right? Because uh, there's actually a deduction. If we go back to that problem, you see, each month you incur a monthly fee of negative 30. And for how long is that? It says for 3 months. So we multiply we multiply negative 30 by 3 months, and we have negative 90, and then we subtract that from our, what do you call this? Our bank account money, okay, which is 500. And therefore, after 3 months, we were able to see that um, the bank account balance that we have is now $410. Okay, easy, right? Next. All right, so this time we go to our scenario two. This is about football. I know you love football. Okay, so football scores or football team scores changes over a season. So imagine you're following the performance of a football team throughout the season. I know there's a lot of you who's a fan of football out there. Okay, so over the course of several games, the team has both positive and negative point changes from game to game. Okay, so our situation would be after 6 games, the team's total points change by positive 24 points in the first 4 games. That means it's a positive points. But they lost. What happened? They lost negative 12 points in the last 2 games. So that means it's a negative point. Now, the question is, what is the average what is the average um, change in points per game for the team? So we will answer that very important question. Okay, so what is the average change in points per game for the team? Okay, let us solve the problem. Okay, so again, we always need to understand our problem. Okay, because if you don't understand the problem, you cannot solve it. You must understand the problem. That's always the first thing that we should do to address this. So we know that the team had 24 points, positive 24 points. Okay, change over the first 4 games. First 4 games. Okay, we are now analyzing it. Okay, and um and um and what do you call this? And a negative, I'm sorry about that, and a negative 12 points, a negative 12 points changed over the last 2 games. Okay, the last 2 games. All right. Okay. Yes, over the last 2 games. Now, for us to find the total change in points for all 6 games, we have to add these two values together. So what does it mean? So the total change would be 24 or positive 24 plus negative 12 equals, so okay. So we already know this because I've discussed this in our previous lesson. So we have 24 or positive 24 plus negative 12. Of course, that will be 20. That would be 24 minus 12. Okay, 24 minus 12 will give us 12 points. Okay, all right. So this is actually the team's overall point change after 6 games is actually 12 points. Okay, we know that. Now, it's asking us to find the average change per game. So what do we need to do? Okay, so we have to divide the total change in points by the number of games played. How many how many games were played? Oh, that's actually 6 games. Okay, that is based from our problem. So average change per game would now be 12 divided by 6. Okay, so what is now 12 divided by 6? So this is very easy to understand. Okay, what is now 12 divided by 6, my friends? So the answer would be what? The answer would be 2. Okay? So, if we're going to interpret this, that means that the average change in points per game is actually 2 points. Okay? That means that on average, the team actually gained 2 points per game over the 6 games. Okay? I hope you understand that explanation. All right, now your turn. So for your turn, we'll have word or real life scenarios involving multiplication and division of integers. Okay? So we have scenario number 1. We have multiplying positive and negative integers in sports. All right, particularly in basketball. So the situation is a basketball player is having a rough game. In the first quarter, they score positive 10 points. In the second quarter, they get negative 4 points due to fouls, missed shots, etc. They play the third quarter, but due to a poor performance, they score negative 6 points. Finally, in the fourth quarter, they score positive 15 points. Now, the question that you need to answer, my friends, is that how many total points did the players score during the game? What if the coach decided to multiply their performance in each quarter to get a performance factor? So you have to answer that. And for our scenario 2, still on sports, but this time this is track runner's time and pace. The situation would be a track runner completes a 100-meter sprint in 12 seconds. Over the next few sprints, their times change due to varying weather conditions. In the second sprint, their time increased by negative 2 seconds. All right. Due to strong headwinds, in the third sprint, they improved their time by positive 1 second. Favorable tailwinds. Now, the question is, if the runner runs 3 sprints, how much average time change per sprint do they experience?